I've had a lot of calls, a lot of messages. People are saying, Yinkakenny, you're not talking about the floods, the drainage, and what is happening in Lagos State. A lot of people are losing properties. You know, we had been warned some weeks ago that come September, we're going to have a lot of rainfall, most especially in Lagos State, and there's going to be a lot of floodings. And you know, the Ministry of Environment, from the Drainage and Water Resources Department, they've been talking and talking and talking. And this was why I went straight to the office of the Permanent Secretary of Drainage and Water in Nigeria, in the person of Engineer. I went to the office of Engineer Nurudeen Olalekan Shodeinde, and I had a discussion with him on the flooding and what is happening in Lagos State. According to your request, I've gone to him and he has a word for every Lagosian today. Just stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and listen to what he has got to say.
And the direct fallout of climate change effect is intense more rainfall, longer duration of everything is just bringing about a distortion in the natural water cycle. Lagos is the most downstream of several river systems, where all the rainfall in Ogun, Osun, Oyo, part of Kwara, and even Republic of Benin is coming to Lagos. We have three classes of drains. We have the primary drains that are the big naturally existing channels that flow to the lagoon, you know, as it were. So they're very big, they're naturally occurring, or they're, you know, God has created them the way they are. Or when you do line area, they are just channels that take large volumes of water. You now have the secondary collectors, which is the nexus between the big and the small drains in front of the houses. The secondary collectors are supposed to collect stormwater from a catchment. When I mean a catchment, an area. And that means the third class or category of drainage is the tertiary one, the front in front of our houses. Many call them gutters along the road. These are the ones that you say were in the inner streets. They are supposed to flow into the collectors. They are slightly bigger than those tertiary drains. So they will not necessarily flow along the road. The tertiary ones are supposed to flow into the collectors, to the primary channels. So the state government's legal duty or responsibility is to clean the primary and the secondary. They are the bigger ones, the big and the biggest channels in the three categories. But the ones in front of our houses, the tertiary ones, the gutters, let me say colloquially like that, it is my responsibility as an individual, your responsibility as an individual to clean the drain in front of our houses. That's what the law says. And it is in the purview of the local government to regulate it. The state government is doing its own. The primary drains, secondary drains, we are cleaning them to the best of our ability. And that's why whenever it rains, you'll see flash flooding, no doubt about it. Because the tertiary drains are blocked. The water you see on the road are supposed to have, gone into the tertiary drains to flow to the collectors. But because those ones are blocked, the storm runoff will now flow on the road for a longer distance before it gets to the secondary collector. The money we keep spending year in, year out on cleaning channels can be better used for something else. Our people need to desist from creating the problem, because most of the flood we find in Lagos are not natural occurrences. They are man-made. We have channels. You see, if the channel, even if not lined, if not constructed, if we leave the right of way of the channel unhindered by either refuse or building of whatever structure on the channel alignment, we will not be having the kind of urban flooding we are having in Lagos. So the biggest challenge is not flooding, is not funding or anything. It is the human factor. We need to really now encourage our people to do the right thing.
Yes, that was Engineer Nurudeen Olalekan Shodeinde, the permanent secretary, Office of Drainage and Water Resources, Lagos State. One very key thing I picked from what he said was that for us to have a flood-free Lagos State, it is a collective effort of you and me. Yes, the government will do their own. from the state level. The government will do their own from the local level, but I and you, we have a very important role to play. Okay, my calls are coming in.